With us tonight, two special guests. Sheryl Sandberg is the Chief Operating Officer of Facebook, which is offering ad grants to struggling businesses. Also, investor Kevin O'Leary. As you know, he owns dozens of individual businesses. It's great to see you both. Sheryl, thank you for being here. Kevin, good to see you again.
Thanks for having us.
Sheryl, tell us about this program. Who is eligible for the $100 million in grants, and how do they get it?
So it's obviously such a hard time. And, you know, the business of Facebook is small business. So we've been in touch all the time, and certainly from the beginning of this. And they told us really clearly they needed financial assistance. And so cash grants along with ad credits. So a few weeks ago, we announced $100 million globally. And today we're sharing that we're doing $40 million for the US alone in 34 cities. And you can go to facebook.com grants for business to learn more about the eligibility criteria. But we're looking for small businesses with 2 to 50 employees that can apply for grants that we can help.
And how will you make the decision on who gets and who doesn't if it's a first come, first serve program, essentially?
So ours is not a first come, first serve program. We have a grants partner in Eureka, and it's a business Kevin is intimately involved with, and they're going to help us make those decisions. But we're going to ask, what are you doing? What does your business do? And what are you going to do with the funds?
Kevin?
Sheryl, can I ask you a question regarding the covenants in place? Because I can guarantee you every one of my companies is listening to you right now with bated breath, because they're also applying to the government program, which is in a little bit of confusion, as you've just heard. But, for example, if I'm a business that has a preference share from a venture capitalist, I cannot apply to the government loan, which is a huge problem for lots of startups. Are there any covenants like that in your deal with small business?
Well, our criteria is much more limited. We're basically looking for companies that have 2 employees to 50 employees. And that was basically the right way we could scope it for the 10,000 businesses we thought we could provide support. But we're also doing other things that all businesses are eligible for. So starting today, we're helping people buy gift cards on Facebook, because that's a great way to support a business. If you can't use their services now, you can pay now, give them the cash, and do it later. And the other thing we're starting today, which is really new for us, is fundraisers for small business. So you've been able to fundraise for nonprofits on Facebook for a long time, and you've been able to fundraise for friends or for, specific needs. But now we're going to start letting small businesses run fundraisers, and people run fundraisers for small business as well.
And Sheryl, did I hear you correctly at the outset when you said this is about cash grants as well as ad credits?
Yeah, the $100 million, the majority is cash and some is ad credits. And that really mattered to us. We want this to be available to everyone, not just people that are using our services. So we don't care in this process if you use Facebook, use Instagram, and we're providing the majority of the assistance in cash.
Interesting. So once a business is able to get some of this cash, do you care how they use it?
Actually, we're really trying to rely on them. We think small businesses know better what they need. We're asking them, what's your business and how would you use the money? But we have no specific restrictions on what they can do and not do. And we're hoping they use it, to keep afloat and really to pay employees. We'd like to see as many people out there be able to support themselves as possible. It's up to them. We're letting the small businesses decide, but we're hoping this gets pretty broadly distributed.
Kevin, you have a good read, obviously, on small businesses, given the number that you've invested in, both on Shark Tank and beyond. So you can speak to the plight of these businesses tonight. What are your businesses going through?
It's what we've learned, and when the bill got signed on Friday at around 2:45, we were crawling all over it by 3:30, trying to figure out how this was going to work. And clearly what it's done is try and focus on retaining employees at the same payroll rate that they were getting on February 15th. Because the period that you look at in this offering from the government is Feb 15th to June 30. And so when we were planning on reducing or furloughing employees or firing half or reducing salaries, and all those strategies went out the window, and we realized what the government was trying to do to make this a forgivable loan, which is extremely valuable to a small business. So now what we've done is turned against the landlord. If I were a REIT, and I've had plenty of conversations with landlords and private landlords, we basically told them, I'm sorry, we're not paying rent in April, May, or June. You can tack that on to the end of the term period. We've also gone to suppliers and said, look, we're trying to keep our DNA alive. We're doing everything in our power to do that. I'm sorry, we're not going to pay you. It's been really, really tough because we know we're going to have to wait 7, 8, maybe 9 weeks to get this money. That's why Cheryl's dollars are really important, not just the dollars. The number one spend for a small business in America, 90% of the time, is Facebook because it provides geolocking so that you can actually work within regions and test different pricing and sell inventory close to where the customers are. I love that. I don't care if it's cash or it's ad grants. I'll take either. I'll take both. I'll take anything to try and keep these 51 businesses afloat right now.
You know, it is really interesting if you see businesses. There are some businesses that can really make some really big shifts. There's a distillery called Kinnaid Farms Distillery in Illinois. They sell vodka and gin. But you know what they're making now? They're making hand sanitizer. And they're not just selling it. They're actually doing awareness raisers and fundraisers to give it away to local police officers and firefighters and people who need it. There's an art studio run by a woman named Leanne in Pennsylvania. You know, her business is an art studio. People come in and do art classes. So she started doing those on Facebook Live and then selling the supplies and shipping them to keep herself afloat. And then there are businesses that really can't do much during this period. They don't have the ability to move what they do online. And those are the businesses that just need things like gift cards, fundraisers, grants, so that they can bridge this gap. It's pretty inspiring to see what's going on, but it's also, you know, a really tough time. And so it's all hands on deck to try to do everything we can to keep these businesses afloat. This is our economy.
And Kevin said, Cheryl, how much small businesses rely on Facebook for their advertising. So you must have pretty good visibility then today on what small businesses particularly are doing right now and to the degree in which they are hurting and maybe not spending on your platform the way they used to before this crisis started. What can you tell us tonight about that?
So we've been really clear. Our business is going to take a hit. All marketing businesses are, but we also realize how lucky we are. We are a very big, very well-funded company. And our goal right now is really to support the small businesses out there, not just the ones that are our customers, but the 140 million that rely on us, you know, every single month. One thing that's really worth thinking about is how expensive it is for small businesses to do things online. And this is a moment where more of them need to migrate online when they can. A third of small businesses in the United States don't have a web presence at all. That's because it's expensive to hire someone to build a website, to sign up for a service, to have a mobile app. Now, if you couldn't afford that before this crisis, you can't afford to do that now. And so one of the most important things we do is we give everyone a free mobile web presence. So, you know, in just a few minutes, just the way you sign up for Facebook or Instagram as a person, you can sign up for your business. And those tools are really being taken advantage of. We rolled out a business resource hub right at the beginning of the coronavirus time period. We're seeing 5 times the amount of traffic we normally see to a business hub there because so many businesses want the information of here's how I get online, here's how I start attracting customers, or here's how I let my customers know what my new hours are or when I'm going to be reopening.
You had $20 billion in ad revenue last quarter alone, which leads me to the next question, I suppose, is will you do this again? Is this just the first, or do you plan to do this again? We are talking about $100 million.
Yeah. So we're really close to small businesses and we're staying in touch. The first thing we heard was a need for cash to get out the door. So we're getting a lot of cash out as quickly as possible with great partners like Eureka. Then we heard that people wanted to do gift cards and fundraisers. So we're rolling out those products. We've also heard a really big demand for online training. We already provide a lot of free online training, but we're doubling down and doing much more. And we're going to stay close to our businesses, close to small business, and we are planning on doing more. So I will have more to share in the coming weeks and months.
I'm sure there's some folks out there tonight who said $100 million is nothing to sneeze at, obviously, but Facebook did make, as I said, $20 billion in ad revenue last quarter alone, hoping that you would do more in the future.
Yeah, and we're looking at small business. We're also looking at local news organizations. We announced this week $100 million for news organizations so that we can help local newspapers cover this crisis. We're working arm in arm with partners like the WHO, the CDC, to make sure that we get information to people and take down misinformation on coronavirus. So small business is a very important focus for us, and we're also working across a number of fronts.
Do businesses have to use the money within a certain period of time?
No, and they don't have to use it on Facebook. That's really important. The majority of this is cash.
And a business owner can take this cash grant and use it in any way that they want. They don't have to use it towards retaining employees, hiring new ones. What happens if a small business owner gets a grant from Facebook and decides just to keep the money because the business is doing so poorly because of the crisis?
Well, I think that's probably paying themselves, but we're working all of this out as our eligibility criteria come in. But here's what I know. What I know is that there are businesses doing incredible things out there. There's a mom's club in the UK. It's a mom's running business, and they sell running apparel. Do you know what they're doing now? They are having moms run and deliver medical supplies to the elderly who can't leave their homes. I don't know if they're making money doing this, but I think we're looking for creativity like that. That's why we're not saying you have to do A, B, C, or D, because I don't think we ever would have thought of that. And if a business wanted to do something like that, that's something we absolutely would want to support. We
mentioned also at the outset the issue that, you're trying to help newspapers. News organizations, especially small ones, are having problems. That's well known. The access and need for critical, correct, and accurate information now is more important, arguably, than ever as we deal with this global health crisis. 2 weeks ago on a blog post, you wrote, and I quote, "Our focus has been on keeping people safe and informed by making sure everyone has accurate information, supporting global health experts, and stopping misinformation." Can you tell me what exactly you're doing tonight to stop that misinformation, and what, if any, you found over that 2-week period since you first wrote that blog?
Yeah, it's critically important that people are safe, and safe means not getting bad information and getting good information. So we've been working with the WHO and the CDC and local health ministries around the world to get bad information down. So if there are things that, people say would cure the virus that would cause imminent harm, we take those down. We're also really critically working to get good information out. So when the UK government decided that they wanted to get everyone to stay home, we were one of their partners, and we really put it at the top of everyone's Facebook and Instagram experience in the UK. Here's the new announcement from your government. Similarly, hand washing. The WHO asked us early on to do videos showing ourselves hand washing. I did one with my fiance. Lots of people did one. But teaching people that they have to wash hands for 40 seconds to 60 seconds, that's actually a really long time. And those videos really helped, as well as other critical information. And so we're working to make sure the bad stuff comes down. And really importantly, the top messages get out to the people, because this information's never been more important. And that also really does include local news right now. Local newspapers are struggling, as we all know. And this is a moment where people need to know what's going on locally. And so we wanted to help support that.
How much misinformation are you finding?
It's Facebook, and we have almost 3 billion users. So we find it and we take it down. The good news here is, I think some of the challenges we have over the last few years have really set us up to be able to respond more quickly. This had happened a few years ago. We didn't have systems around misinformation. Today we do. Now we have third-party fact checkers. We've done grants to third-party fact checkers to make sure that they can cover the coronavirus misinformation really quickly. And so we'll continue to do it. We've also, unfortunately, you see people trying to make money on this, trying to run ads saying that they have something that will protect people. And those we're very aggressively taking down.
Kevin, lastly to you, will you be applying for any of these grants or ad credits for any of the small businesses that you own or invest in?
I've probably done it while you've been talking. I'm sure. Believe me. Cheryl, you mentioned, at the risk of piling on, when it comes to small business, and let me speak on behalf of 30 million small businesses in the United States, give often and give generously, and we will pay you back in spades, because we use your platform. You mentioned on there that you were going to give some training, because what I've learned over a decade, in the last particularly 5 years, the Facebook platform has gotten more and more and more complex. And so if you're a large company, you can afford consultants to understand how the algorithms have changed and how to get more productivity under customer acquisition. The small guys are very inefficient at using your platform. I'm just telling you the facts. They could really use some help there. So if you're giving them grants in advertising, what's the plan, or how do they actually get the services to be trained to use it efficiently? They could probably enhance their productivity by 50% if they knew what they were doing.
No, I think that's right, Kevin, and it's great to hear from you because you are so close to so many small businesses. So we've been providing training online under a program we call Blueprint for a long time. But you're right that training is more urgent than ever. So we are rolling out new trainings, trying to make it as simple as possible and trying to say, okay, here's the training for how you start. Here's how you get yourself an Instagram business profile or a Facebook profile Facebook page so that you can have a presence, Instamobile presence right there. Here's how you target customers. Here's how you do a good creative. You have to put some basic stuff on there. Remember to put your hours. Remember to take a picture so people can see what your business looks like. We have a new feature that people just asked us for that we put out for temporary status. So we can say, hey, these are our normal hours, but right now, here's what we're doing. That was a feature people asked us for as part of the trainings we provided. We just rolled out. Everything from the most complex to the basic.
I know we're talking about small business, and that's the focus. But lastly, about your own big business. Are you keeping all of your employees? Have you laid off anybody, furloughing anybody? We've asked executives who've come on if they're willing to take a pledge of no more layoffs. Will you do that tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky. We are, a very large and we are in a very good position. So we are not just paying all of our employees, but we're paying everyone, employees, contractors, whether people are sick, healthy, can work, can't work, everyone's getting full pay. We guarantee bonuses for our employees at a higher than normal rate, but we're actually hiring. So we expect to hire 10,000 people into our product and eng teams by the end of the year. So our hiring is keeping at a very, very aggressive clip through that. And we feel fortunate to be able to do that. We also have the responsibility to do that, to keep our own employees, but hopefully hire more because we need them. But also, as we started here, to help small businesses who don't have the deep pockets we do so that we can help them do the same thing and stay afloat.
Sheryl, we appreciate your time very much tonight. Thank you. That's Sheryl Sandberg, Chief Operating Officer of Facebook. Of course, Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank fame. Kevin, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.